Yep.
Call the roll.
Yep. We'll go ahead and take care of that. So due to the governor's recent order, all members of the Recreation Parks Commission are participating virtually. For virtual meetings, commission members will be muted until asked to be heard. At that time, they can be unmuted. When there is a vote, it is necessary to have a roll call vote. So please remember to state your name and then your vote. A commission member will then, once again, state their name and then their vote. Today's meeting is a public meeting per the notice. Citizens can listen to the meeting if they contact the city manager's office to make necessary arrangements. And the meeting can also be live streamed on the city's YouTube channel. A copy of the meeting can be accessed by next Tuesday on the city's website. So, all right, let's go ahead and do roll. I just need to find. So John Gunkel.
I'm present.
Perfect. Sean Hawkins. Okay. Kathy Gondring is absent today. Or Kathy, are you here? I thought I remember seeing her. Kathy Gondring?
I think there was a note saying she wasn't going to be here. I saw that.
I know, and then I saw her for a second. I might not have though. Okay, so Kathy is not here. Bob Hartwell?
Here.
Thank you. John France? John France? Okay. George Peterson? Okay. Joe Cassidy?
Here.
Okay. Thank you. Taylor Ansley?
I'm here.
Okay. And Mashika Jefferson? Okay.
So we don't have a quorum then, do we?
No, we don't. We need one more person. So we can look at the minutes. We can't vote to approve them, but if you guys want to take a look at them, we can do that. Or we can just move on to the updates. Your call.
I think we can probably just go ahead and move on to the updates unless anybody has any issues or changes they'd like to make to the minutes. All right, let's move on to the updates.
Okay.
All right. I know many of you were knew Tasha Logan Ford as the assistant city manager that provided oversight for the Recreation and Parks Department, as well as several other departments. She left to go to be the city manager in the city of High Point. We have transitioned under our new assistant city manager, Johnny Taylor, and just wanted to take a couple of minutes to allow you all to put a face with the name. Johnny is with us today. We welcome him. He has been with the city for a number of years, worked in and provided oversight over several departments, more recently the Department of Operations. Johnny has been fantastic to work with. He's extremely supportive of the Recreation and Parks Department and has the reputation for getting things done. And so we welcome him into our recreation family. And Johnny, I don't know if you wanted just to say a couple of words to the commission, but they're a pretty easygoing bunch. We do provide, meet regularly once a month. Do take, I think, the month of July off and sometimes the month of December due to the holidays. But if you would like to say a couple of words, we can give you that opportunity now before we go into department updates.
Okay, I'd like to say good afternoon to everyone. It is my pleasure to be on today. I want to say to all of you that I am very appreciative of your time and effort as a board and committee work that you're doing to support recreation and parks here in the city of Winston-Salem. So I may have to step out here shortly. I hope to be in some more meetings in the future, but it's just a pleasure to be a part of this meeting and to meet you virtually on today. Feel free to reach out to William if you're ever upset He likes that, and I'll be there to support him with anything that you may need assistance with. So thank you all once again, and I already have enjoyed just being here a few moments with all of you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Johnny. Going to go into, we didn't have any official business that would require votes. Seeing that we don't have a quorum, I don't think that would necessarily be a problem today. However, I do want to take a few minutes to provide some, to just get you, make you aware of some of the changes here within the city and how regarding the spread of COVID and how that's impacting our service delivery to a degree. The city recently, almost all city departments for that matter, have been working with some sort of flex schedule for employees so that not everyone is in the office at the same time. Given how contagious this variant of COVID is, we're seeing people every day that we know, even our loved ones that are getting ill. It's also flu season. Recently, the city has moved to, if you want to have access to city buildings, they must be made, those are done by appointment only. That provision does not apply to recreation centers. Our recreation centers are still open. They have been doing a fantastic job at making sure that people are wearing masks, there's hand sanitizer, and that people are properly socially distancing themselves while they visit our facilities. But it's been a challenge. It could impact our ability to provide in-person programming. It could affect our ability to hire and retain employees, such as lifeguards. We begin that recruiting usually around this time of the year. And so it can impact various, I guess, all city departments in different ways, but I'm going to provide, give Renata, Leah, and Greg an opportunity to kind of go through some of the things that they have done to ensure the safety of the public, the safety of the staff, while we move through this pandemic, this current stage of the pandemic, and all the while still trying to provide quality recreational programs and safe facilities for the citizens to use. Leah, would you like to kind of go through some of the things that you and your staff have been doing during this time?
Yeah, absolutely. So good afternoon, everybody. Hope everybody's doing well. So I feel like we're kind of going back to where we were about a year ago, unfortunately. As we see numbers starting to increase, we're also monitoring the way that we're offering our programs and facilities. We have gone back to reducing the capacity of people that we allow in the room. Recommendations are that we're keeping it at 25 people per room, depending upon the room size as well. We do take that into consideration. So if we have a large room, such as a ballroom, we can actually double that capacity as long as we're still able to properly social distance. Also with our gyms, we have gone back and evaluated what other municipalities are doing, and we have put a restriction on our gyms for when we have basketball leagues that we are reducing that down to 100 people, and that's 100 people total. That's including your coaches, staffs, players, and participants. You know, we've always been diligent ever since this has started to make sure that we're keeping our surfaces cleaned and minimizing shared contact surfaces. So we're just, you know, a little reminder to our staff as we're approaching these winter months, you know, to go back, make sure that we're cleaning, holding people accountable for wearing their mask, making sure our staff are wearing their mask as well. And, you know, just be creative with our programming. We have done a lot of virtual programming. We've kind of scaled back from that since we've been able to open up our doors to the community. We're still doing some, but just not the capacity we were. And as we continue to program, we're just looking at ways of changing it. So it's definitely been a challenge. We do, unfortunately, when the mask mandate was removed back in October, November-ish, and it was brought back on, we noticed that we had an increase of numbers. You know, people felt more comfortable to come out. When that mask mandate hit again, our numbers have started to go down with programming, but they're staying steady.
You guys have any questions for Leah? Greg?
Good afternoon, everybody. Just to echo what Leah has been saying. This really has stretched our team to be more creative. In my division, we have a lot of outdoor space, and so we've really seen a growth of numbers to our park system. When during spring, we offered a lot of outdoor programming, a lot of focus on holistic health, mental health. It has stretched us in a different way. And I think you'd find that speaking with any of our team at Recreation and Parks, we've enjoyed the challenge. And I'm happy to say, I'm proud to say that there really hasn't been too much of a drop of service. When it's zigged, we've zagged, and we've really tried to come to work and serve our citizens. Of course, there's a lot of challenges. We've had to cancel some things, but largely, I'm pretty proud of our crew. We've been as business as normal as we can do during this time.
Renata?
Good afternoon, everyone. Recreation maintenance during the COVID-19, basically for us, the same as you can see with Leah and Greg, it has been a very, very big challenge for us too here in maintenance. Even though most of us, we do work outside, for us here at COVID, we still try to maintain some of the CDCs and keeping up with some of their stringent things that they have put in place. For us being outside, working more with the public, we have seen an increase in our parks due to COVID-19. So it's requiring that additional work be done out there in the fields. In doing those additional fields, we're taking on, and we're also remembering basically some of the basics. We're making sure that we continue to wear a mask. We basically are in trucks, we ride together. Basically, when we can, we try to at least have no more than 2 in a truck, that they are masked at all times. At that time when we're out on a site, if we're gathered and we cannot be at least 6 feet apart, one of those things is we also require that the mask be on. We continue to wash our hands and do things of that nature due to the fact of the jobs that they do out there. I can say I'm very proud of these guys through all of what has been going on for the last 2 years. They have maintained. They have, given their best and given their all through this. We have come to prioritize a lot of our projects and things that we do. But most of all, some of the same things that Leah is going through, things that Greg is going through, we're going through the same here. But through it all, we're managing and we're overcoming those challenges.
Yeah, and it also it's good to point out that we're still experiencing issues getting items just delivered. It's taking much more time to get just basic items delivered to construction sites, and it's not just with our projects. It's that's something that's going on citywide. Robert Presswood, a city engineer that manages a lot of our vertical projects that involve vertical construction, is experiencing the exact same thing. For instance, there was a particular shipment that was ordered, something that was supposed to be shipped that was ordered, and they got 4 different delivery dates before the equipment finally arrived. And so in many instances, Renata and her staff are at the whim of at the mercy of some of these delivery companies, and just getting things ordered so they can get things installed, like backboards and pads, some things that we could routinely get within a week or so are now taking months. But her and her staff have done a great job managing that, and it's just something that we'll continue to work through as we move forward. Stephen Younts is also on the call today, and he's our Recreation Administrative Manager. Steve manages our in-office, staffing levels throughout the week. More recently, we have gone to, we're going to reduce that down to have at least 2 people administratively in the office until we can, as we kind of navigate our way through this, Steve, do you have any additional words you'd like to share with the commission regarding how it's impacted you and your staff's ability to do things?
Yeah, I can share a little bit of information. And I will say we're very fortunate compared to Leah, Greg, and Renata with their staff. A lot of their programming and of course the maintenance stuff requires close contact and in-person contact. We're very fortunate that some of our responsibilities and tasks can be done virtually or remotely. And so we have been pushing for that. We've eliminated all in-person meetings when it comes to any kind of strategic planning or something. And as Mr. Royston stated, we are limiting the number of staff that's in the office at one time. That way, if there is potential exposure, we were hoping, of course, it wouldn't take out the entire staff. So same as the rest, we're just trying to think outside the box and be creative on how we can still fulfill our obligations to the city and to the citizens while also being mindful of the challenges that are present during this pandemic.
So, as we know, it is not just the Recreation and Parks Department. It affects every city employee, probably affects all of us in different ways. But, it's probably the first time I think that me and my staff or probably anyone on this call has had to kind of work through a pandemic. There was really no roadmap. And so we're almost creating it as we go, hoping that no one else has to use that information to do it again in the future. But it has been challenging, but hats off to all of my staff for continuing to find creative ways to move forward. It's our idea that going into the spring and summer months, our goal is to provide a full level of service. However, that is going to be strongly dependent on how COVID is during some of the warmer months. But parks, recreation facilities, trails, greenways, some of the improvements that we've made throughout our park system over the past 10 to 12 years we've definitely seen an increase in usage in our facilities. And, we're trying to manage the safety and ensuring that our facilities are as safe as possible for those people who are choosing to go out and use them. Does anyone on the commission have any questions about any of the information that was presented?
Hey, William, I have a quick question. I think you mentioned hiring retention as one of the issues associated with COVID and I guess the economy in general. Have you guys have any special programs to address that, or how does that work?
It's been difficult, not just for us. Again, I don't think it's something that's just a recreation issue, but I think, across the city and probably across the country, we've struggled to find qualified staff and keep them. But in many instances, when we made job offers, those employees have come back and told us that they accepted positions somewhere else. The job market right now is kind of wide open.
Right.
In terms of retention, it's not. Probably need to clarify that it wasn't in terms of keeping current employees here, but it's keeping the issue with COVID is being able to keep employees in the positions where they are so that they can do their jobs and perform. For instance, I'm currently at home under quarantine right now because my daughter tested positive for COVID. And, there are just some things I can work from home and get some things done, but there are some I can work differently when I'm in the office. And being able to have that face-to-face contact with my staff members, with Josh and Leah and Steve and Felicia, Greg and everyone else that, we can brainstorm very quickly as opposed to sending emails and text messages and having phone calls and work out issues much quicker face-to-face. I had a conversation with my staff on Monday during our staff meeting. We've been doing virtual meetings going on 3 years now, 2.5, 3 years. And some of the staff members don't like turn their cameras on, but it makes me feel good to be able to see their faces. And so there are a number of challenges. I could go on for days talking about them. But, in terms of keeping employees safe, not bringing any type of illness to work, whether it's the flu or cold or anything else, has been a high priority, not just for recreation, but for the entire city as well.
All right, thank you.
That was the, we didn't have any official updates to provide. However, I would tell you that the item that was presented to you all in terms of the encroachment agreement or the conservation easement, excuse me, for Long Creek, we presented that to the Finance Committee yesterday afternoon. There were no questions. The item did not get pulled. And so we'll be moving forward with closing with the Conservation Fund and the Piedmont Land Conservancy to get that the portion of Long Creek that they bought added to our park inventory and as part of our park system.
Okay. Is that all that you've got, William? So I guess
That's all. That's all
okay.
that we have just for just departmental information. We could go into departmental updates and information and provide you an opportunity to ask questions from Greg, Leah, and Renata and Steve in their respective areas.
Okay.
Lee, you want to get us started with recreation centers and let the commission know some of the things that you all have been doing here lately?
I will. So as we talk about all of our limitations and our challenges, you know, we're always very optimistic with the things that we're going to try and do. So met with my team last week and we are in the process of planning summer camps. You know, last year we did it with all the challenges of COVID, did it successfully. So looking forward to repeating that again this year. One of the layers that we're going to add to it, of course, we're going to do our traditional camps, but we are going to do a layer of teen camps. And this is going to be camps that are focused on job skills. So, and community service based. Once we get a little bit more information, the flyers out next month, we'll make sure that we share that with everybody. So you guys can help us recruit individuals that maybe want to work with us or that maybe want to participate in some of our programs. So, yep, can't believe it. We're already thinking about, it's only January, but we're thinking about summer already. Couple other things. I love this flyer. I think it's cute. We have our Future Athletes program that's going to start back up. Future Athletes is targeted for 3 to 5 year olds. It's a non-competitive skills-based program. So that one registration is currently going on at that location. That will be at Sprague Street this year. If you guys have not been out to our gyms, please go visit some of our gyms. We've got new gym floors that are coming in Miller Park, Brown Douglas, Sims, Anderson, and I'm probably forgetting somewhere. So forgive me. Renata's team has done an exceptional job on making sure that the floor has been put in there. So we're excited to go to Sims and show off, or I'm sorry, Sprague and show off that new floor. Ooh, Felicia, you're moving around a lot on me. So I'm just going to go ahead with a couple, I want to do 2 big things that we're doing right now. And Felicia, if you can get to those flyers, great. If not, we can send them out. So, you know, some of the things that we've been looking at doing is just kind of incorporating new things into our programming. And Engineering Month is coming up in February. So we do the annual Bridging the Triad event. Felicia, can you grab that flyer for us if possible?
My computer is like frozen right there.
Oh, that's okay. Well, I'll chat about it. If you guys have been on commission for a little while, you may be aware of this
I'll make sure to send all the flyers out.
Yeah. So Bridging the Triad, this is a fun one. So we do a competition with 6 other recreation departments across, well, more of the Triad area. So it's going to be Greensboro, High Point, Kernersville, Lexington, Thomasville, and Winston-Salem. We all tend to get together and we do a bridge building competition. The bridge building competition is you take 100 craft sticks, you get a bottle of glue, and that's all you get to work with. And you take those and I don't know the magic combination on it, but you take them, you put sand and a bucket attached to the bridge and you break it. And whichever one holds the most weight will continue on and go to the regional event. So that will start up. We're going to start pushing out kits to the community this Friday, January 14th. Kits can be picked up at Miller Park. This goes from ages 8 years old to adults. So if any of you guys want to compete, we would love to have you out there. I think that'd be a fun little challenge for everybody. So Felicia will send you more information on that. We have also started a GeoSTEM program. Essentially, this is building with robotics. We do have a YouTube video that we'll also share with you in the notes. That is all I have right now. If you guys want to participate in our challenge, please go by Miller Park. I have kits available up until the local date, competition date is February 5th. So we'll be passing them out till then.
All right, Greg.
Thank you, William. Last Saturday saw the beginning of our youth basketball league. Really happy to be able to offer a league again this year. Last year we did a camp. Have 116 kids joining us from ages 5 until 11. It's over at Haynes Hosiery. There are trainings in between at Sims Center, Haynes Hosiery, and Miller Park. As Leah was saying, we have fantastic new floors, which the kids are really excited about getting to play on. Really, our aim in athletics is to offer $1 million worth of value to the kids. Every Saturday, they feel like they're playing in the NBA. They come very excited for game day. Of course, with COVID, we managed to schedule very tightly. They come in and one parent per child. It's a lot of fun if anybody has the opportunity to come down on a Saturday morning. Games are at Haynes Hosiery from 11 o'clock. At Historic Bethabra, we will begin our Women of Bethabra program. It's on March 5th. Women offered just a tremendous push in forming the settlements. So it's been really interesting for us researching some of the information. We have over 1,500 archive items at the site, which we're the stewards of. Been working with Old Salem to have some of those artifacts returned to us as well. So a lot of cataloging, a lot of research with that material. And then in the spring, always exciting to bring in new programs. As Leah said, we're working on our summer camps right now. We will offer 2 historic camps over at Historic Bethabra, one of which is a Patriots camp where the kids will learn a variety of colonial activities. Then we have soccer, which has been a tremendous growth area. As you can probably tell, I'm from England originally, so soccer has played a really important part of my upbringing, and it's become extremely popular in the area, which is great to see. It's a really low cost sport that a kid can get out and do absolutely anywhere, and we have a lot of tremendous fields in the sea. We also have pottery over at Historic Bethabra. Salem Lake will be introducing a junior ranger program, which will be really exciting. Baseball, softball, a number of camps, and so on. So we're excited to move into the new season. So that's what you can expect from special facilities this coming year. Okay, thank you.
Sorry, I myself was muted myself. Renata, you want to kind of go over some of the more recent project updates that you have?
Good afternoon. A lot of the projects that are recently going on here, basically I was out on site today looking again, projects that's moving along. One is the Corey Park. Corey project is on schedule, I guess, in regards to the new revised estimated completion date. Walls are going up, footings is going in. Basically what's happening is shelters are going up. So that project is moving along very, very well. One of the projects that's nearing completion is our Carl Russell Recreation Center. Basically that one is coming to completion. Within that particular project, they had upgrades and improvements to the gym. They had new kitchen, meeting room, game room, landscaping outside. So that project, we're hoping that everything is done and complete. We'll do punch list and walk through hopefully by the end of the month. One of the things that we're talking about in regards to COVID-19 is a delay in some of the materials. One is our company, AV Strategics Communication, in regards to putting in the media room, and some of the things that they need in that room are on delay. So we're looking at that room to be completed around March when those items do come in. But otherwise, the facility will be up and we're hoping available for use. So it's just, we just need to get that room together. It has moved along very, very well. As Leah has stated, in regards to the basketball courts at Miller Park, Martin Luther King, Sprague Street, W.C. Sims, and W.R. Anderson are on their way. Last to be completed is MLK, hoping he has those completed by the end of this month. So all basketball courts will be in. Some of the things that we hear in recreation maintenance along with those projects is coming in and basically doing a lot of the aesthetics. So we're adding things that they may need as far as player benches and things of that, wall pads and things to make it look better and to actually give them those things that are past due. Other projects that we're working on that's coming along, you have Long Creek Park. Long Creek is moving along. Things are coming up vertically, as well as the pool house and things of that nature. So that project is moving along. This week, we have scheduled monthly meetings. So I will be meeting with Long Creek. I'll be meeting with Quarry Park. Came from a meeting with Haynes Park today. So contractors are moving forward, but the delays that they're having right now is anything that they need to lay with asphalt. This is not the season. So a lot of projects are at halt right now. Other than that, we've been working, and I have been working diligently. William didn't know if he wanted me to share or if Felicia has the PowerPoint in regards to the information that we gathered from their survey. I think back in April, you all were given the task of going and looking at parks and actually doing a Google Docs form. I don't know if Felicia has that or she's able to pull that up, but I had the opportunity of actually taking the data, triaging the data, and actually putting all your information in one particular and in some charts, and then actually going back and taking a look at it. And we're actually looking at it from a park perspective and seeing what things we're coming in and actually needs to be done. So if you can flip to the next.
Renata, I don't know if we'll have time to go through the entire presentation. Let's do this. Let's go through, hit some of the highlights that you found and some of the data that you found, and then we can email this out to them and then be able to answer questions via through emails and provide some answers to those questions at our next meeting.
Okay. Okay, Felicia, can you go back a screen, please? Okay, right there, the survey results. These are the actual parks that was visited at that time. So this is a list of the parks that were actually put into the Google Docs form. And so these are the projects or the parks that we actually took a look at. So Felicia, if you keep flipping. And as you see, you will see we have taken the data based on your responses and basically created some graphs for some of those based on some of the answers that you provided into different things in the park in regards to turf, weeds, concrete, mulching, and things of that nature. So as she sent this out, you will see what your responses was and what the percentages was in those particular areas. Felicia, you can keep flipping. So after we went through and we looked at some of the parks here, basically the same as we did with Partners in the Park, we took a look at your answers and actually went into each park and we took a look. Some of you all, as you can see, has visited Bolton. A lot of the things that you have here listed and that we have come out and taken a look at, these items should be addressed. Some of that should be addressed when we finish the actual playground installation. So a lot of those items there will be addressed. That was part of some of the things we looked at that you came back with in regards to those particular parks. Granville, for example, some of the things we came back with, looking at that, there were some visibility issues with the lighting. There was some asphalt path that need to be done, general landscaping. So some of these items that you see here are items that you all recommended. And then these are items that we as park employees put our eyes on and actually saw too that these are some other things that also need to be actually addressed. Felicia, you can just flip through. And the parks that you see are the parks that you actually visited. So you can see there, we went through. I welcome any comments, concerns, issues, questions at this time. I know it was brief. I know it was short. Felicia will send this out to you, but as what Director Royston said, we will basically take a look at these and feel free to send us any questions and we will answer these according to if need be, more than welcome to meet you all out for a site visit or anything. Thank you for your time.
Like one of the things that we consistently saw in some of the information that was provided were a lot of turf concerns, weeds, and those are seasonal things. And although we don't manage that ourselves, we rely on another department to manage that for us. We do know that those are recurring issues, and they aren't necessarily new ones. Vegetation management does what they can, but however, they face some of the same issues that we do in terms of staffing levels and just being swamped with work. But we saw a lot of landscaping, turf management issues, a lot of some things that were many of the things that probably have already been addressed. But we started this process in May. Was it May, Felicia?
Yeah, it was actually in April of 2021. Yep.
In April of 2021. And we have, I'll say 12 to 13 or so parks that were visited. We wanted this process to be dynamic. Don't want you to stop going out and looking at and visiting facilities. I think the more that you see and learn about our facilities, the better. So I would encourage all of you to continue to go out, use that Google Doc, provide some feedback to us. The quicker that we can kind of address those, kind of find out what those issues are, we can get them addressed pretty rapidly. So does anyone have any questions about anything that was presented? I know Renata went through it pretty fast, but we literally could have taken the entire meeting and just gone over each one of these slides. But we can send that out to you. But if there are any direct questions that you either have for me or Renata this time, we'd be welcome to take those.
I have one.
Sure.
By way of example, I'll be sure I understand what we're doing in terms of the issues that are being raised. I give you an example. At Old Town, which is a significant soccer site, the goalposts are rusting, need to be sanded and painted. I've been watching this for some time now. The parking lot is filled with potholes. Somebody cut a trench for a cable but never filled it in properly, so you drive through that whenever you go in there. And the place is encumbered right now by the current drainage project, which is a big project. There's a lot of equipment there. Unfortunately, part of the project appears to have been missed. So that's another issue which I met with City Council yesterday on. It's a serious omission that appears to have occurred. But other than that, this routine maintenance, as I keep coming back to, is a real problem. If you're going to have soccer, you need goalposts, and if they don't get maintained, this is not heavy duty stuff. How do you want us to handle that? I mean, I can find constituents here in this neighborhood who would be happy to chime in about how we need to maintain the goalposts and clean up this driveway mess. And so how do you want that done? You want me to add the? I wasn't sure that we were doing anything more than aesthetics here, and aesthetics are great. I'm not complaining about that, but what do we do when we have, and this isn't just Old Town, where our constituency says, what's the problem here that routine stuff isn't getting done?
Well, I would have to check because I'm not even sure if those soccer goals are ours. I would have to check to see if those soccer goals are ours. If they're not, and they belong to an outside agency, it's just a matter of us contacting them and asking them to make repairs to those goalposts. The trench, I believe that there was a Duke Energy had to go out and lay, I think, pull some additional power feeds down to the park as part of the construction project. However, they won't leave, given that it's still a construction site, we won't let them leave that site or leave that area where they have to trench through the driveway incomplete once we sign off on everything. It'll definitely be something that we'll ask them to take care of. But given the temperatures, right now they just can't pave. It's even so cold that it's probably not even wise to even try to use concrete. But those are things that if you see anything like where there is a busted light or a water fountain that was leaking or a soccer goal that needed to be sanded and painted, it's just a matter of reaching out to us, sending us an email, and we can get on that and get it taken care of.
Okay, I have a question on the trench. The trench I'm talking about long predates this project. It's been there, it's right across the roadway near the picnic area. And somebody just didn't finish the job. And of course, the parking lot is loaded with potholes and tripping hazards and so forth, which you can't do right now because of weather and also because there's so much material there. I mean, there's huge, lots of culverts and all kinds of stuff there, but they're going to finish that eventually. And then where these other issues are going to come up again.
Well, with the issue with the issue with parking lots and some of the condition and the overall health of our parking lots, several of our parking lots, it's not just Old Town. We had the same issue down at Schaffner. We have issues over at Rupert Bell. We have to have the funding available to address those larger paving projects. We've requested funding through CIP. One of the things that the commission could do is maybe send an email or a letter to your or get some constituents to say, listen, we need some money to help pave some of these parking lots. We do work with our, I don't know what they're called now, Renata, it's either traffic field operations to identify areas and parking lots where we can get them to come in and cold patch certain areas, fill in potholes and smooth things out. But at the end of the day, those are just patches. We found that we probably have several facilities that are in dire need of resurfacing, not only parking lots, but a lot of walking paths as well. But we can take a look at that area at Old Town and see if we can come up, if there's a way that we can work within the city to try to remedy some of those larger issues with potholes and that one area that you mentioned that was cut out.
Okay, I appreciate that. That's great. I want to say one other thing, and I won't monopolize this discussion, but I'm working on a proposal that would, I don't know whether it goes anywhere. I think it should, whether the department and the commission should have a more comprehensive list of those things that are the real priorities coming out of, a lot of it out of this deferred maintenance report, which is 385 pages long, which means there's a lot of stuff out there that needs to be done. Because the reason I raise this is we need to go to the city council and be much more aggressive with what the needs are. I have the distinct impression that they don't feel they're under much pressure to fund whatever it is everyone would agree are the priorities to be funded. And this report is really helpful in that regard, and trying to pick out the problems that need to be addressed particularly in the DNF parks, in the ratings of which there were 29. And that's a real problem. So I'm going to come up with something and see what people think. We don't have a quorum today, and I'm not really prepared, but that's my thought, is that I think we should be appearing before city council, however it is we do, going, zooming our way in or whatever it is, with a coordinated push by the commission and the department to get more funding. Because I will tell you, I'm absolutely positive there's money. And, you just have to figure out how you go about it and get some help from some people on the council who are sympathetic, as my councilman is, who's also the public works chair now. So that's in a nutshell what I want to get into. I might put something together in writing and get it to people before the next meeting, because I think we need to have a real presence there. These parks are really important. And if we don't, it's kind of the squeaky wheel problem, but if we do enough of it, we're going to do better, I think. So
we're actually working on something that's not ready yet, but we're working on it internally. I think Steve has been putting a lot of time and effort on. We actually were able to find out what metrics the consultant used to rate and grade our park facilities. And as we're making certain improvements based on what funding we have available, we're able to kind of go in and update that matrix and update our scores. I don't think that we currently have any Ds or Fs. There may be one that, and it should be coming off once the scope of work as planned there is complete. But we have, we request money through our capital improvement program every year, and we can probably provide that priority list to you. Typically, our priority concerns will start with safety related issues, and then they move down to other aesthetic issues. And so we have that list, and sometimes, you know, we've had things on that list that we submit every year that just don't get funded because there are a number of safety issues. But we'd welcome any feedback that you could provide to kind of help make that case. But at the finance committee meeting yesterday, it was mentioned by several council persons that were in attendance that, you know, building new and shiny things is all good, but we need to begin to focus on fixing what we have and fixing things. And so I believe that council is aware. They know what the issues are. It's just one of many things that they juggle, but I do believe that it's higher on their priority list. We didn't do that deferred maintenance assessment for nothing. Staff has been working through that assessment, prioritizing projects, capital improvements, and we've also done a very good job at correcting a lot of deficiencies that were noted in that report. So whenever we get to a point where the update for the scoring is complete, we'll come back to the commission and provide that to you.
Brother Roster, Mr. Roster.
Yes.
I have one question to ask you.
Sure.
I visit Carl Russell. I didn't see it on the list, but I may have not turned in my report. But I noticed where we were, you know, we're having a garden area, and I believe most of the garden areas is in an area where it's going to be flooded out on the lower side. And I was looking down at the ball field below. Below this facility, and is Carver High using part of this land? There's a ball field back there. There's actually two ball fields back there. What is that land? What is that land? Who's using the land? And what's
the school system has a ball field, and then we have a ball field right adjacent to it. The school system uses our ball field for practice and band practice more so than they use their own. Our field is in much better shape than the field at the school system, but it does get used. It also gets used by the recreation center for outdoor programs when they have them. The garden area, that's an area that it doesn't hold a lot of water. Staff kind of came in. There's some subsurface things underneath that garden that allows the water to drain out of there. We have a drainage pipe in there that allows the water to drain out. You can't see it, but there were some standing water issues there. We fixed those before we built the community garden.
Okay. That's one of the questions that, you know, I was wanting to ask. You know, I did visit that, you know, area, but I noticed that, you know, at that point in time that I visited, I probably was in the spring, but it looked as if it hadn't been maintained well. I mean, I didn't know who's responsible for cutting all that debris that was on the hill and down in the, you know, the valley area, you know, where the ball fields were. Who keeps that up? The school keeps part of it up and the city keeps it up?
If it's on our properties, that area right adjacent to where the garden is, I guess that's just north of where the picnic shelter is, going down that hill to the ball field, that's the city. The city maintains that. But it's an area that they've allowed to grow up because it's very, very difficult to mow. Actually had an accident there several years ago. And so they decided to kind of let it grow up. It doesn't mean it doesn't need to be maintained, even if it's a natural area. And so we work with the vegetation management department to kind of work through those issues.
can you grow any type of shrubbery there to make it look better? I mean, most of the hillside stuff they've got shrubbery that you can use to, as a covering when you can't mow it.
It's possible. But again, we have to, it doesn't sound like it's a large project, but it does require a significant amount of money to kind of come in here, take out everything that's there, provide any soil amendments that need to be made, and then make those improvements. But it's something that we can have a discussion with our vegetation management department to see if we can get that area looking a little bit nicer for you.
If I can interrupt for a second, if we can actually vote to approve the minutes, we do finally have quorum. We had a couple of members jump in late, so if we can go ahead and do that, so we don't have to carry it to the next meeting.
Yes.
So we're going to vote to approve the December minutes.
Yeah. Do we have a motion to approve?
Move to approve the minutes.
I'll second the motion. Second.
Okay, was that John France?
John.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So we have a motion by Taylor and a second by John France. Now we need to do a roll call vote. So John Kunkel.
Approve.
Okay. Sean Hawkins is not here. Kathy Gondring is not here. Bob Hartwell.
Approve.
Thank you. John France.
Here.
You say approve.
Approve. Yeah.
Okay. George Peterson.
Approve.
Thank you. Joe Cassidy.
Abstain. I wasn't at the meeting.
Okay, that's fine. Taylor Ansley.
Approve.
Okay. Ashika Jefferson is not here. Okay, so the meeting minutes are approved for December. Okay.
I did. Joe asked me in the chat for the meeting to kind of go over some of the review of the ordinance roles and responsibilities. Joe, the recommendations that we presented at the last meeting they're almost exactly as they're spelled out right here in the meeting minutes. Do you want to maybe take a look at that and then maybe shoot me some questions that you may have, and I can talk to you about that one-on-one? I think one of the recommendations that you specifically asked for is now included as part of the additional language. But all of the draft version and the recommended changes have been made. We just haven't gotten to a point where we're going to get to present that to council yet. I'll need to work with the city attorney's office to see what that timeline is for getting that in front of council for approval.
Okay. Thank you, William.
No problem.
Okay. Is there anything else? I have one item of old business I wanted to bring up. That was everything. Okay. The old item of business was at one time, several members suggested that we have I guess a commission member handbook, or, a couple pages that basically answered some common questions. And we really haven't discussed it, I think, in a couple of months. As I remember, I think
I volunteered for part of that, John. And it's been on my list. I unfortunately missed last month's meeting due to some work travel, but I'd started to kind of draft up just an email to Felicia with some ideas, some questions that I thought new members might have, and I could commit to having that to her by the time we meet again.
That's great.
I tell me if you think this is wrong-sided, but my take on it was to sort of start with questions I felt like I had when I joined the commission that other commission members might have, and then we could sort of then address as a group sort of best answers to those questions, and then sort of see where we might have some gaps there.
Right. That sounds great.
Yep. And Taylor, if you want to stick around after the meeting, we can schedule a time and you and I can kind of go through that.
Sounds great.
Or I'll just call you after the meeting. Is that okay?
Yeah, that works. Thank you.
Okay, I'll do that.
Okay.
John, I'm sorry to interrupt, but I also think that part of that handbook was going to include the new language and responsibilities as well. And so I know that we haven't specifically talked about that handbook, but I think over the past few months, we've been working through some of the more difficult issues. I think that, Taylor's idea of having that list of questions and, just that general information about our park system in there would be helpful as well.
Right. Got it. Okay, there isn't anything else. Anybody a motion for adjournment?
So moved, Joe Cassidy.
Second.
All right.
All right, meeting is adjourned. Thank you all.
All right, thank you. Have a great rest of your day.
All right, you guys.
Thanks,
have a good
everyone.
day.
Take care.